What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Three Man Weave. I'm your host, Jesse Kass, and very happy to be back with you. It's been a couple of months, but we're back live. We've got a couple of great guests here for you for this month, and on my right, making his return, what's this? This is 4 in a row, right?
This is 4 in a row.
Nican Robinson
Fire.
here.
On a roll, huh?
And to his right, we have making her first appearance on the show, Miss Rhonda Ray.
Yes, hi everybody.
So thank both you guys for being on here, and we're just going to talk some NBA basketball and have some fun.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so first, Rhonda, this is your first time on the show. Just tell some of the people your involvement in basketball and how we know each other.
Right, so I've always been a fan of basketball since I was a young kid, so love the game. You and I got introduced because I was a co-host as well as you on Gary Payton's After the Game on Foxhole some years ago. That was my introduction. He gave me an opportunity to come on and, let out some basketball knowledge on the air. And Gary's someone that I grew up with in Oakland, so there was already a relationship there.
Yeah, and speaking of Oakland, we have
What are the odds?
we have an Oakland heavy show with that.
What are the odds? That's right. So that's how we got acquainted, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, great to have both you here today. We're here to talk some NBA basketball. So first, let's cheers.
Yes, cheers.
Cheers.
Warriors.
I don't know if I can cheers to that, but congratulations to you.
Too late to cheers. Too late.
All right, well, on the topic, perfect transition. We've got the Warriors, as mentioned. Last time we talked, we were convinced it would not be a close series against the Rockets. We even texted early in that series, after Game 3 when the Warriors won by over 30 points.
Okay.
This series is over.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it kind of turned on its head. The Rockets basically lulled them into their ISO ball. Of course, Iguodala's injury was huge. And that series not only is close, it goes down Game 7. Pretty close game down the line. Just what changed that made that a real series when we all kind of agreed, and the other guests we had as well, that the Warriors had such a significant advantage?
I mean, the Warriors are great, number one. Number two, you have a Houston Rockets team that decided to play chess.
Yeah.
And by that, what I mean is that guys weren't going on the court and just playing and passing and cutting and so on and so forth. They decided to hunker down on the fact that Iguodala was out.
Yeah, they banked on that, right?
They banked on that, 100% banked on that. You go ahead, you take Iguodala out, now all of a sudden you have 4 guys that can defend that high pick and roll. So they just honed it down, and they really kept the game, the Rockets kept the game very, very simple. It's just a high pick and roll. Switch off onto whoever the big man is at the time, so whether it be Looney or whether it be David West or whether it be JaVale. JaVale didn't really play, but any of those guys, now all of a sudden all you have is Chris Paul, you have him, whoever the 5 is, and they're going at them. Chris Paul or James Harden keep the ball in their hands, and you just dribble drive to kick or dribble drive straight to the hole, and that's it. And that, the 5, they cannot guard those 2 players. They're 2 of the best players in the world. Yeah. And they just kept it really, really, really simple.
Now be honest with me, were you nervous? They were down 15 in Game 6
I'm not gonna tell
and
you
15 in Game 7. Both elimination
I'm not going to
games.
give up all my
How dare you
secrets.
bait me into that? I'm not going to
just say.
I'm going to stay over here.
All right, Rhonda, were you?
I would just say that I feel like the Rockets watched a lot of tape after, the first couple games, to give a push to win the next 2 games and pushing it to a Game 7. So I think that the determination was there, and on the Rockets' behalf, again, they were so close last year in the playoffs. Yeah, it was that motivation, and then with the addition of Chris Paul, and the excitement with that, then he got hurt, which is pretty routine.
It's happened a lot in the playoffs.
It's happened a lot. So I think that there was a lot of anticipation about possibly we can get through the Warriors and get on to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Paul, as you said, he's had at least 3 playoffs where he's been knocked out, and his team, of course, has suffered from it.
Correct.
What do you think? Obviously, sports is filled with a bunch of big ifs, but if Chris Paul stays healthy, you think the Rockets win that Game 7?
I plead the 5th.
Yeah, I think I do too. Yeah, I think I plead the 5th too.
Oakland fans are plead the 5th.
I would say yes. I think that they
Well,
would.
then I was just going to say if I had to choose, I would say yes. Well, yes, that I think that the Warriors will still have one, not Rockets.
I think it's clear the Warriors the better team. No question if Chris Paul's out there or not. But for whatever reason you said playing chess, it seemed like the Rockets, at least for a couple games, had kind of figured out a formula to win.
Yeah.
Well, even still down the stretch for the 4th quarter, the Warriors in those games that they didn't have Iguodala, the one that they let slip away at home, it came down to the final seconds of the game.
Yeah.
So all they need, if they could have had one Warriors run, which for, giving Houston Rockets credit, they were actually minimizing the runs that the Warriors were having, those third quarter and fourth quarter runs that they have. They were actually minimizing those. If, hypothetically speaking, this is all hypothetical, hypothetically speaking,
it is all hypothetical.
if Chris Paul plays in the 7th game,
Yeah.
he doesn't get injured, he plays in the 7th game, I think that the Warriors may possibly have had one more third quarter run. You can't come back from that.
Yeah.
Once they go on that run like that, or they
Right.
put together a string of them, that would have been tough for them to beat the Warriors. So
Yeah.
they don't have the run.
That is what the Warriors are known for this whole season.
Yeah,
The third
yeah.
quarter kind of burst.
Yeah, they're
runs.
closers. They're
Yeah.
closers. They're
Yeah.
finishers. It doesn't really matter how it looks in the beginning. If they're down by 25, they've proven that they are a solid enough team where they can come together and make the push. So I think it comes down to a mental standpoint as well. Like, I feel like the Warriors just know that they have to get the job done
Yeah.
by any means necessary.
And also the mental thing you mentioned, Houston, now the infamous 27
Yeah.
straight missed 3-pointers. That's
Correct.
definitely a
Exactly.
mental thing. A lot
Yeah.
of guys that can shoot the ball and
I will
just
say this though.
yeah.
Everyone talks about the 27 straight, missed 3-pointers. How many of those are contested? How many of those were actually open 3-pointers and they were not contested? Very small percentage of uncontested 3-pointers.
Yeah.
So they were throwing them up, hoping that they would go in.
Yeah.
But if you look up, there was a hand in the face. They were off balance. They weren't good 3-point
They weren't good
shots.
looks. Yeah, they weren't good looks.
And that's where they
yeah.
obviously miss Chris Paul
Yeah,
and his kind of leadership
absolutely.
and
His
passing.
leadership, yeah, exactly. I agree with that. I agree with that. So it was a hamstring this time.
Hamstring.
What was it when they folded to
Hamstring.
the Rockets?
The Clippers, yeah, that was
when he was with the Clippers. It was a hamstring.
it was the hamstring that year, and then it was the broken hand against Portland.
Got it, right, got it.
So there's been
Yeah,
multiple
Lillard
things.
broke that arm.
And the hamstring against the Spurs.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
the one that
wow.
led into the Rockets
Yeah,
series,
yeah.
But yeah, no, Daryl Morey for the Rockets said their 0 for 27 was basically the basketball gods redeeming for Josh Smith and Corey Brewer going off in that game 6 with the Clippers, so I guess it all
Right,
comes full
yeah, it
circle.
all comes full
They can choose
circle.
whatever they
Yeah.
wanted to.
Yeah.
But obviously the Warriors winning led to the series number 4 against the Cavs. We got
Woo!
2 good games out of that series,
Yes.
game 1 and game
Yes.
3. Really,
Right.
game 1 was the game.
Right.
LeBron, a
Mhm.
50-point
Kind of
triple
went
double.
off. Yeah.
And the chance to really steal game 1 and make it at least somewhat competitive.
Right.
And obviously the moment that stands out amongst most people is the
Oh,
ending.
man.
George Hill misses
Listen
the
here.
second free throw. J.R. Smith gets
We
the
can
offensive
stop
rebound.
right there.
That's a
George
good point.
Hill missed the second free throw.
Well, there's so many things you can go on here because obviously he misses the second free throw.
Right.
Even if he makes it, there's still, I believe, 4.7 seconds where the
Right.
Warriors are going to get another look.
Right.
So the outcome still, not determined. But if you make the free throw, you go up 1.
You go up 1.
JR doesn't matter.
JR does not
Right,
matter at all.
exactly.
But what were your thoughts on the JR situation? I know there's a lot of talk about LeBron's reaction in the timeout or after when it went to overtime. Cavaliers not even calling a timeout, which could have just saved JR.
So many different
Right.
things.
So many different
So
things
many
could have
different
happened,
things.
but
Yeah.
I guess everybody was just in utter shock.
Well, that,
You know?
He was in utter shock. I mean, let's be real. J.R. Smith was in absolute utter shock, and for some reason, he didn't have his head in the game. I mean, you're
Did
looking,
not have his head in the
you're
game.
looking up at the clock. You're
Yeah.
looking at the game clock. Shot clock is off. You're looking up at the score. He didn't do any of those things.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, basketball players have those lapses. You don't want to, but you have those lapses where, you goof.
yeah.
It's inexcusable, but you still goof, and then it's funny.
Am I the only one who has more blame for Tyronn Lue than J.R. Smith? I know J.R. Smith needs to know time and score there, but Tyronn Lue, once he sees J.R. turn away from the basket, he's got to be sprinting, calling timeout.
Yeah,
So he knows he has it.
yeah. I think that he was just kind of. I think that nobody knew exactly what
it
was
all
going
happened
on.
fast.
It all happened so fast. But what I would say is that J.R. Smith, with that play, took Chris Webber off the hook.
That's a real big statement right there.
That is a big
And he
statement.
called that timeout. I said, so now J.R. is taking the biggest L.
Uncle Drew put him back on. The movie Uncle Drew, they put him back on. Not to spoil anything.
Right,
They put him back on.
exactly, yeah,
Actually,
but,
anyway.
Tough for JR.
Yeah, it's really
He
tough.
he he's always going to have the stigma of he's you know, a heat check
Yes.
player,
Yeah.
he can be a reckless player, but
Yeah.
he was an NBA champion, he still is. He
Right.
helped that team tremendously
Yeah,
when they
he
won, and
definitely
this
did.
kind of
Yeah.
brings it all back to...
That's too bad for him. I kind of feel bad though.
Kind of, just a little.
Yeah, but he was just like, well, here's the thing for me, like the internet really ate him up. The memes
memes.
were
Yeah.
like relentless.
He's memeable for life.
They were relentless.
And obviously, congrats to the Warriors.
Yeah.
They did end up winning that series.
Yeah.
We try, you know.
I hella love the
It was really the real finals was that series against the Rockets.
Yes,
But
yes.
the Warriors won, and obviously kind of reloading now. Before we get into free agency, let's go to the draft. That we had that, some of the prospects. What did you think of, just what are your thoughts on the draft? Do you have anyone you like the most? Did anyone get a bust? Who's your favorite player? Who's a bust? Who do you like?
I'm interested in seeing how Michael Porter Jr. is going to come back from his back injury. Even though he had that one game or he played a couple games after he came back, won in the NCAA tournament. You know, he did decent, and you know he hasn't played a competitive basketball game in months. I'm interested in following that storyline and how he fits in with the Denver Nuggets. How his body reacts to everything that's going on. The level of play is now going to jump because he's playing against grown men with kids.
Right.
So I'd like to see how he does in that environment.
That was a really interesting storyline because obviously he's the top 5 talent, was the number 1 guy in his high school class. And it wasn't 1 or 2 teams. He fell to 14.
14.
And clearly that's something, with the medical record on his back. But he fell to 14. He got passed over by not only a couple teams, but the Clippers had back-to-back picks, and they passed on him twice.
Wow.
So that tells you kind of the worry of teams.
Yeah.
There's already like some rumors that he might not play this season at all. So.
Which I'm not, I'm not against that. That would be taking a page out of the 76ers book.
Well, Simmons and Blake Griffin did that previously in 09 as well.
Blake Griffin, I mean, we can argue that they did it with, what's the big guy's name from 76ers? Joel Embiid. We can argue that they did it kind of with Noel Nerlens.
Yeah.
So, and I think the teams are going to start doing that. They take these draft picks high, they're young guys or what have you, and they sit them out like a red shirt.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
And it's good for a Nuggets team. They kind of fell into their laps. They're already a fringe playoff contender.
Right.
So that's a team where they're not going to rush it necessarily.
And they're definitely rebuilding.
Yeah.
A lot of young talent over there.
Yeah.
So definitely rebuilding. The pick to the Grizzlies is Jarrett Jackson?
Jaren Jackson.
I saw a little bit of the draft and some of his interviews pre-draft and stuff, and I really liked him as a kid, as a person, and his game was good. He did play in the summer league. I did see a couple of games that he had played in, and his game is nice. To you all's point, grown men, the kids coming out of the draft playing with grown men, hence Trae Young, like he's already hurt already. I was really excited to see what he was going to do because, again, I saw his interview leading up to the draft, and he seemed like a good kid, an eager kid, and so I was excited to see what he was going to do. And I know it got that whole mix-up. He went somewhere first, and then he ended up in Atlanta.
Right.
Yeah, the trade with Dallas.
Yeah, exactly. The first game that I saw, Summer League, I think that he was just hitting air balls and things like that. You can really tell that he was out of his natural habitat. Kind of fish out of water kind of a thing. And he's used to playing with collegiate players, and these are like grown men. So
it's a different speed. It's
it is a
game
different
altogether.
speed. Yeah, it's a whole different game altogether.
Trae Young is obviously one of the most popular players for what he did in college. He's going to be one of the most interesting as far as a rookie because there's a lot of talk already that some people are in love with him, some people think he's going to be a bust. I think he'll do okay. I don't think he'll do. I think the pressure on him to be Steph Curry is troubling because there's only one, and obviously shot selection is going to be huge with him because he's a guy who's going to step out and shoot the 30-foot three, from way beyond the arc. He's a great playmaker, but if he gets kind of lulled into that game where he wants to be on the highlights and gets sucked into that, I think that could be really problematic for him.
He could be a good playmaker, but he needs to be a team player. He
is a great passer when he chooses to be.
I think that'll probably be his strongest suit until because the point guard position is one of the hardest positions in the NBA to learn. You can ask Gary Payton. Gary Payton coming in. Jason Kidd would just take 2 different products right there. There are bumps that you take as a point guard when you first enter the league. Like it's probably one of the hardest positions to learn when you first get into the league. Trae Young, I think, will be fine. His shot selection, he's not going to be shooting all those. He probably will for small those 40-foot threes. But you have to work your way up to that because you have elite defenders that are guarding you. It has to be within the flow of the system. You also have to pick and choose your spots. He'll learn that.
Yeah. You think he's going to be more of a highlight person and gunning for his own shots for the highlights, or he's going to actually be a team player?
I mean, I think he's a team guy. I think he'll learn well. I think honestly his biggest challenge will be on the defensive end. You mentioned all the other point guards you have to go against.
Right.
It's just there's no nights off.
Yeah, no nights off. Right.
He's not. The thing with Curry that people don't realize, he's actually pretty big. 6'4". He's got size. Trae Young is not big. He's about 6'1", if that. And he'll have trouble defending. So that's going to be his biggest trouble, his biggest issue.
He's smart though. You can see it. But
that's what I liked about him. You can tell that he was smart. Again, I watched a couple of the pre-interviews before the draft, and I felt like he was a good kid. I felt like he was a good kid, so I was excited to see him play.
He's going to get lost in the shuffle for sure. I mean, shoot, De'Aaron Fox. I mean, he's not above De'Aaron Fox yet. I mean, this is only what De'Aaron Fox is soon to be second year.
Yeah.
It takes a while for these guys to really get adjusted.
It really does. I will say on that trade, there's little doubt in my mind that Dallas got the better. I think Luka Doncic is going to be a star.
Everyone keeps talking about that kid.
He's solid.
Yeah,
he's
they are
MVP of the EuroLeague at 18.
Yeah. There's so much talk. Great talk behind that kid, and he didn't even play in summer league, so it's just the hype, But I'm sure that he'll be able to live up to the hype. Yeah,
totally.
For sure.
He played against grown men.
Right, exactly. He knows the drill. Right,
it's a lot of grown men. That's true. And
he knows the drill.
Since we do have our New York base, got to talk about Kevin Knox as well. He's looked amazing in the summer league. It looks like he might actually be a really good pick for New York.
I personally think he will. I mean, coming out of college, I was just a little hesitant and skeptical.
Some questions about his motor and
which I mean, college guys have when you're playing against grown men, all of that just completely changes everything. You need to learn how to
keep that in mind, right?
Keep that in mind. When you're playing against grown men, you have to step your game up, or else you are not going to play.
Yeah.
It really forces you to look at yourself and say, okay, well, what change do I need to make in order to succeed in the system? Like, who am I really? Am I actually this jump shooter? Probably not. Maybe I should do this. Okay, and then be able to build upon the skills and the foundation that you laid. He's going to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to be one of those guys. But in summer league, he looked great to me.
Yeah.
But once again,
it is summer league. It's not something as the regular season.
We'll see.
But there are certain things with the eye test in the summer league where it stands out. He was one of those guys with his athleticism seemed kind of better than what we saw at Kentucky. He's going to get stronger. He can shoot. He pretty much scores at all three levels.
And I mean, his game is definitely tailor-made for the league. Not to say that Calipari doesn't run offensive sets that try to get you ready for the league, but it's a bit different in his system. This past year, the floor wasn't as spread, it wasn't as spaced. Guys weren't able to do the things to showcase their abilities and talents. You're also under the spotlight of college, and college tries to restrict a little bit of what you do.
Not as much spacing.
Not as much spacing. It's also about the team. It's not about individuals. So it's just a little bit different system. But what he's shown during summer league, at least, is that his game is definitely and will be tailor-made for the NBA. So I think he'll do well. So Knicks fans, you guys are.
So I was gonna say.
We finally got some optimism.
So here's a question that I have because I haven't been following the Knicks. Who's their coach these days?
They just hired David Fizdale.
Okay.
Who seems to be really popular with players amongst the league. I think he's finally a right hire for them. We'll see, obviously, with the product on the court, but
that speaks volume coming from you.
But Mark Jackson, similar vein, someone who can relate to players and really, get them to work hard. So I think that's something that will work out well. Porzingis' health is going to be key, but
he'll be fine.
Porzingis,
the unicorn will be fine.
Porzingis, Knox, Ntilikina obviously needs to develop, but he's already a great defender. There are pieces there with cap room opening up where I think there's at least finally a path to success where there hasn't been in a long time.
Hopefully,
yeah.
Is Phil Jackson still in the general manager?
Thankfully, he is not.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
He's gone.
To Phil in Montana or
wherever he is, right? Do you think he's making decisions with Jeannie on the list?
I don't think so, but
I don't think so.
But that's another good segue. We talked about LeBron. He is, of course, LA Bron now. LeBron James is signed with the Lakers, which still sounds very weird to say, but we of course have to talk about it. So Rhonda, start us off. What are your thoughts?
Listen to me. My thoughts are that the day that he got signed, I'm driving home and I look up on the marquee at Pins on Ventura and it's like, "Welcome to LA, the King." I was like, "Wow, that's fast." I can't say that I specifically saw it coming. I heard some chatter about it. I didn't know where he would land. Some was hoping that he'd land in a Clipper uniform. I just never thought that would happen. My thoughts on it, because I'm not a huge Laker fan, is I'm excited to see who they're going to build around him and how they're going to do. Like, I'm just open to kind of seeing how that story plays out. Like, I kind of feel like I know why he made some of the moves. I feel like he has some interest in entertainment and being in here and some other things beyond basketball. Correct me if I'm wrong, is he here for 1 year and then he's going to reassess? Or 4 years? 4 years. Okay, yeah, 4 years.
4 strong years.
4 strong years.
Which he never did for Cleveland.
No,
I think that has to do with Dan Gilbert more than the city of Cleveland.
He didn't want to do business.
Yeah, I think that Magic had a lot to do with it, Magic Johnson, and to, Magic being alumni or that team, he just really wants to see the Lakers rebuild because they had dismantled in the worst way. So, I wish them all the best, but I'm just kind of like neutral when it comes to him being here in a Laker uniform.
Yeah, absolutely. I can wear your.
I'm kind of excited that he's here. I can't believe I'm saying that. I'm kind of excited that he's here. It's a very I want him to ride off in the sunset. I mean, he's 33 now?
Yeah, he might be turning 34 by the time the next season starts. Yeah.
So, I want him to ride off in the sunset, and I feel like on a super high, because you think about a lot of the greats that have come through the NBA. A lot of them ended up on the Lakers. The Lakers are good at drawing in that high level talent. So I'm a sucker for a story. They're not beating the Warriors, but I'm a sucker for a story. And I like that his trajectory has now landed him in Los Angeles. I actually think it's pretty cool.
They had not been so successful in drawing in talent in the last few years, right? And that was because of the front office, correct?
But they still have the moniker. They are the Lakers.
I think that's the difference. In Rhonda, you mentioned the Clippers, and this is interesting. I don't think he didn't consider them, but the Lakers obviously have their glamour at their own name.
Right.
But do you think, would it be better for his legacy if he went to a team like the Clippers, where you think about the Lakers, it's such a Kobe town, and we've already seen LeBron that there was a mural that was vandalized so many times they painted over it. He's in a situation now where the pressure is magnified, and he already has kind of his own fan base, some of them against him because of their love of another guy who they think is better, even though he's not. Sorry to Kobe, but
my thing is, shouldn't he go after legacy is what you asked. I think that his legacy is already secure.
I agree with that as well.
And I think the only thing that you can do is to go to that extra stretch, that next stratosphere. And the next stratosphere is just to go to the Lakers.
Yeah, it was the Lakers.
You know what I'm saying? And so that he's already his legacy is locked down. He's one of the greats of all time. I can't believe I'm saying that. He's one of the greats of all time. He's one of the greats of all time.
I mean, he's a machine.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Anybody who can play that hard for that many minutes and carry a team on their back, get 50 points, and then your co-worker blows the game, and your teammate blows the game. But he is a machine. Yeah. So though I'm not a super duper Bron fan, I respect him and his game. You have to.
There's no way not to.
There's no way not to. That would just be like someone who wasn't a super duper Michael Jordan fan to try to hate on. He's just good at what he does.
That's the main thing too. I think it's about just appreciating a player, which a lot of fans get caught up in who's better than who, or I'm a super fan of this guy. But whether it's Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, whoever, all incredible in their own right. So I don't think if you're a Laker fan, there's nothing else to be but ecstatic that you have LeBron James on your team.
It's such a great storybook ending for him.
It really is. For the city too.
Yeah, for the
city as well.
It's very exciting.
Very exciting.
It was really hurtful for the Laker fans to watch this team dismantle. I'm telling you that they would still come to the Clipper games in Laker jerseys, things like that. But, I knew that they would turn the corner and get some, a premier player to bring everything back to
his son's
that
being home as well,
program.
because I know that one of the things was that he wanted to see where his family was most comfortable, the entertainment.
That's right.
He said many factors.
Many facets.
facets,
Yeah, many facets.
And it also, he's with the Lakers, a
Yeah.
basketball player with the Lakers. Now you have to carry a load, because now they can't be horrible, they won't be.
He's going to run the
Wherever
team
he's
anyway.
gonna-
Whatever he says is going to go anyway.
Right.
Whatever. He's going to coach the team.
Or the question is, will it? Because what you have is a great who's over you.
Okay.
Meaning that you have Magic Johnson, who's actually talking with you as equals.
Right, as equals, correct, yeah.
So, I'm not sure if he will run the team.
Will he respect the coaches?
Well, one thing I will say too.
We'll see.
Yeah,
That's Luke Walton. I think so.
I do think so as well. But one thing I think that remains to be seen, as unbelievable as LeBron is as a player, his track record of being a de facto GM for his team has not always gone well. Where I want to trade for this guy, and then eventually doesn't quite work out. And Magic Johnson, he got LeBron, which is amazing, but he doesn't have a real track record of winning yet. He is Magic Johnson. He can obviously attract people, but the early moves that they've come up with Rondo and Lance Stevenson and McGee, all players that can succeed in their own right, is a very odd fit for that team this year.
It is. They don't. I mean, they still don't have shooters.
Yeah.
And I wonder who the Lakers will be. Not LeBron. I wonder who the Lakers will be. And I still don't think that they're not going to have an identity, I wouldn't even say this year, in terms of who they're going to be, how they're going to run plays, how they're going to run sets, if they're going to let LeBron, come off and pick and rolls and distribute. Like, I wonder how it's going to be. But I'm confident that Luke Walton will adjust to that. Luke Walton is a player's coach.
How much cap space do they have?
Well, that was the one thing that at least
right, that would determine who else comes.
Well, they did sign Rondo, McGee, and Stevenson to one-year deals, so next year they'll have cap space to get another star
maybe that's
player.
where I was getting the 1 year
So
deal.
Kawhi is obviously the big name out there, and that's a whole other story that we'll have to get into it another time. But
where I think Mr. Jerry is going for Kawhi on the Clippers, that's what I think.
there is talk that Kawhi might want to go there, but that's
he said Lakers. He wants to go Lakers. Get that man to the Lakers.
But Spurs reporter Michael C. Wright said he said Clippers, so there's conflicting.
I just think that they can build a team around Kawhi.
The Lakers?
No, the Clippers.
Oh, I mean, they would have to.
They could. That could be their nucleus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they can filter in. With that, And I feel like, again, he's from this area, so Lakers Clippers would make sense. But I just really feel like they're going to pull him in the Clipper direction.
I mean, there's a lot to be determined. Even though free agency's been going on for a couple weeks now, a lot of players still unsigned. A lot more that we'll have to talk about next time. Before we sign off, anything you guys want to get out there and plug what you're working on now, what you got going on?
Well, right now, still, there's going to be a film coming out, Thunder Road. I'm in a film called Thunder Road. It's going to be coming out at the end of this year, so just be on the lookout for that.
Awesome. And Rhonda?
And as for me, I am launching my new YouTube channel called I Am Rhonda Ray.
Thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Let's cheers.
Still here.
Wow. It's still here.
Cheers.
There's a first for everything. Once again, thanks to Nican Robinson and Rhonda Ray. Jesse Kass. We'll see you next time on 3 Minutes.